satellite imagery caught a secret that China was hoping to keep hidden. What is it? Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Be sure to subscribe and follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Behold, China's secret new space plane. Yes, that tiny dot in the lower left. Okay, that probably doesn't seem like a big deal. But this is actually a huge deal. And it could mark a new chapter in China's attempts to become a nation capable of space warfare. This satellite photo comes from the San Francisco-based company Planet, which offers satellite imagery of Earth. And they may have accidentally caught a secret Chinese space plane landing at a mysterious remote airbase. The airbase is near Lop Nur in Xinjiang, where China once tested its nuclear weapons. In 2016, they built a massive 3-mile-long runway, one of the longest runways in the world. But we have to connect some dots to make this dot into a space plane. Staterun Media says that China launched a reusable experimental spacecraft, and then after 2 days in orbit, landed the experimental spacecraft. The landing happened at almost the exact time the satellite snapped a photo of the mysterious airbase. Now these were both very short articles, without much information and without any photos. Usually, Staterun Media has a lot of fanfare whenever China launches some kind of satellite or rocket, to show how great the Communist Party's space program is, like they did with this photo gallery of a recent satellite launch. But this kind of low-key reporting on this experimental aircraft suggests that whatever it is, the party wants to keep it secret. I think they're maybe afraid that if they made it public, then all of the Chinese factories would make knockoff Chinese space planes and sell them in Chinatown. But when it comes to figuring out whether this was a secret space plane, we do have some other things to go on. This is Jonathan McDowell, an astrophysicist with the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. He tracks spacecraft and satellite. He says the photo combined with other circumstantial evidence, such as the new spaceship's orbital path, strongly suggests that China has launched and landed a small, uncrewed space shuttle-like vehicle. According to McDowell's tracking, the spacecraft would have been able to land on the runway at around 10 a.m. local time. The fuzzy Planet image, snapped at 10:11 a.m. local time, would have been taken just moments after such a landing. So much for being secretive. Now, while McDowell describes China's space plane as a space shuttle-like vehicle, technically that might not be the best comparison. The U.S. space shuttle was used to send actual astronauts into space. Experts think this Chinese space plane is probably more like America's lesser-known X-37B. That's the unmanned robotic spacecraft the U.S. has been using for about a decade. So what's the point of China's unmanned space plane? It's kind of hard to say. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, the distinctive capability of the X-37B spaceplane is its ability to return from orbit and land on a runway. Other systems can carry payloads into orbit, maneuver in space, rendezvous with satellites, release multiple payloads, and/or return to Earth, and can do these things at much lower cost than a spaceplane. Basically, there are cheaper, more efficient ways to do all of the things that China's space program needs. But clearly, the US still has its X-37B. And as McDowell says, the Chinese military may be thinking, if the Americans have one of those, there's got to be a good reason for it. So we better get one too. Which is exactly the kind of thinking the Soviet Union had before it ultimately went bankrupt trying to keep up with US military spending. So maybe China's just got a case of keeping up with the Joneses, the Space Joneses. But you know what the Space Joneses don't have? A Grucci plane. And now is the time when I answer a question from you, a fan who supports China Uncensored on the crowdfunding website Patreon. Lunarworks asks, Chris, does Shelley sit in a booth somewhere just waiting to correct you? You know, that's an excellent question. I assume Shelley's entire life does revolve around me in one way or another, which is why, Sometimes on the show, I'll make a mistake on purpose, just to give Shelley something to do. What's that, Shelley? Yes, I know how much you appreciate it. You're welcome. Thanks for your question, Lunar. And if you want me to answer your question on the show, join the China Uncensored 50 Cent Army over at patreon.com/China Uncensored. You'll also be helping keep China uncensored. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.